What's up, guys? Big Papa Drock back with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and as always, I hope you are having a wonderful day. Guys, I'm not gonna lie to you, I have some type of bugs flying around me at the moment. They may or may not make it into camera. I've been trying to kill them for the last 15 minutes. I don't know how they got into my apartment or into my home, but they are attracted to my extremely bright lights. So if you see me swatting around like I am a crazy lunatic or high on some type of drug, don't worry. I'm just trying to kill these damn bugs. They look sort of like moths, but they're not moths. They're like almost like flying ants. So hope you're having a fantastic day. It's definitely one of the weirder intros that I've ever done to a video, but hey, you know what? Sometimes you just got to be honest, and hopefully one of the bugs doesn't fly in front of me while I'm trying to do a little video on our boy, or I should say nobody's boy, Fjorad Wolfheart. Because folks, I've wanted to do a video on this guy for a while. I happened to pull him a while back, and he is without actually no lie, he is actually the worst reviewed mythical currently in the game, as you can see here, and his reviews are pretty damn bad. And I'm really curious to see why, because when I read his kit, I thought, you know, it doesn't seem that bad. Like normally with champions, you can tell right away. With some champs, when you read their kit, you just think, good God, this champion is not going to be good. And that's not the case with Fjorad. Like, his kit doesn't sound that bad. So really curious to see exactly why he doesn't work, why he's so poorly reviewed. Yeah, so we're going to test him today. We're going to do all our fun stuff in Arena and see exactly what he's capable of or not capable of. And hopefully we'll do it without having any type of bug land in my mouth or on my head. And now that I've said that, that's probably what will happen. So anyway, let's get into his skills. First and foremost, we got a dwarf here. He is Spirit Affinity. Really don't want any more Spirit Affinity nukers in the game right now. I feel like we need more and more Force and Magic Affinity nukers to counter some of the meta that's out there at the moment. Now that might change with some of these Force Affinity nukers and champions they put in recently, or things like Polara Fireheart, who looks really good, that we'll get down the road whenever we complete Faction Wars hard mode. But Spirit Affinity, it's kind of always tough at the moment, because most of the best champions just aren't going to work with this kind of affinity. He is a support in the first form. He is an HP-based champion that does damage in the second form. Looks awesome. I mean, love, as always, the aesthetic of what we're doing here. But let's take a look at the skills in the first form. So, A1, Bite of the Wolf. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. If the target is not under a freeze debuff, will repeat the attack once. Okay, interesting. So basically, you have a pretty darn good chance of landing a freeze, given that you're going to repeat the attack if they're not under a freeze. So, I mean, this is, I don't know statistically what it comes out to, but it's pretty darn close. I would imagine 80, 90%, maybe higher, to land a freeze debuff on someone. Now you'll notice, resistance here, ignore resistance. You are going to require accuracy. The other thing that's interesting to me too, like right off the bat, and what I don't understand why they're still doing this with some champions, is why is his damage based on attack in this form? There's no passive here, by the way, that's going to, equate his HP to his attack. This is a mistake. Please stop doing this, Plarium, please. If you're going to have a champion that has a literal HP based second form, just make the forms line up, right? You know what I mean? Either make it so that his damage is based on HP and attack in both forms, or based on HP in this form. It's not like I expect this form to do a ton of damage. It's a support-based thing, but I'd like to have some kind of damage come out of it and for these things to line up. So I don't like that his attacks in this form are based on attack damage, because you're not going to be building them with attack. You're going to be building them with HP. Anyway, let's look at the A2. Great Captain, great name. Places a block debuffs buff and a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. Decreases the cooldown of all ally skills except this champion's by 1 turn. Okay, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good A2, right? Block debuffs, increased speed on everybody, plus you're decreasing skills. Now, granted, it's only by 1 turn, which is pretty weak compared to some of the other champions out there, but all in all, not a bad sounding A2 on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Okay. Take a look at the A3. Attacks all enemies, places a freeze debuff on all enemies for 1 turn, and a 30% decreased speed debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. If an enemy is from the Galen, I don't remember, maybe Galen Pact, places a freeze debuff on them for 2 turns instead and grants an extra turn. Again, damage based on attack, which makes no sense, but I mean, this sounds pretty darn good, right? An AoE hit, decreased speed. You could use that hypothetically in PvE stuff. Freeze isn't going to help you as much in PvE unless it's wave-based content or maybe Faction Wars Hard now that that's out, or possibly Cursed City. So this is definitely more of an arena ability in that regard, at least in my opinion. Interesting that you get a 2-turn freeze on people from the Galen pack, just to remind ourselves, and more importantly, remind me, because I obviously forget all the time. Ogryn, Lizardmen, Skinwalkers, Orcs. Yeah, I mean, you've got some great Lizardmen champions out there, some great Skinwalkers for sure, a couple of really good Orcs. I mean, Ogryn and Orcs are probably your overall worst factions, in my opinion. You know what I mean? There's maybe not Ogryn. There's actually some decent Ogryns in here, now that I look at it. Orcs definitely one of the worst, though, for sure. This faction is rough, definitely rough. So cool. Okay, you get a 2-turn bonus on that versus just 1 turn for everybody else. But hey, you get an extra turn on this ability as well. So you could see him setting this up and then going into a second form to nuke. At least that's how I look at it. Let's look at the passive. Best served cold. Whenever this champion receives a debuff from an enemy, has a 30% chance of placing a freeze debuff on that enemy for 1 turn. Occurs once per turn. This chance increases to 100% if the target is from the Galen Pact. Man, this guy really hates the people in the Galen Pact, apparently. Apparently the dwarves and the Galen Pact have some real beef, have some bad blood. I mean, look, kit-wise, it really doesn't sound bad, especially because you're getting the extra turn, right? Now, again, it requires accuracy to land this stuff, so you're going to have to build this guy with accuracy, which means you're going to be losing a little bit of damage in order to make that happen. But getting an extra turn off of freeze, also having the ability to put up some, really solid buffs, again, like, not that bad at all, or so it sounds. Let's take a look at the second form. He also has an ally accuracy in all battles aura. Let's take a look at the second form. Now you'll notice the only stats that really change are the crit damage. The accuracy drops to 0 in this form, and you get increased defense. Speed remains the same. He's at 100 speed, so he's not super fast. HP is decent. Let's take a look at the second form, which is the damage dealing form. A1, the Rhyme Cleave, attacks 1 enemy. If this attack kills an enemy, it resets the cooldown of one of this champion's random skills. All right, damage based on HP, cool. Sounds good. Icequake attacks all enemies, places an extra hit on enemies under freeze, stun, fear, true fear, provoke, or petrification debuffs. Each hit decreases each target's max HP by 25% of the damage inflicted, stacks up to 50%. Each hit also decreases each target's turn meter by 25%. This effect cannot be resisted if an enemy is under freeze, stun, fear, true fear, provoke, or petrification debuffs. Okay, so he's got a potential double hitter on people that are under freeze. Ideally, you're going to have people under freeze when you're using this guy. It's a 3-turn cooldown. I mean, again, like, the kit doesn't sound bad. Guaranteed decreased target turn meter if you're under any of these debuffs. The big thing that stands out to me is, obviously, God forbid you run into somebody with polymorph for this champion, because he is just going to live in sheep form with how many like freezes and things like that his kit throws out. But all that being said, again, like, double hitter, freeze, he has that in his first form, possible decreased target. I mean, like, turn meter, that obviously comes down to, like, you don't want to do that against Amarius, for example, but it doesn't sound like a bad skill. Take a look at the A3. Attacks 1 enemy, Disciple of Torment. Oh, interesting. He's Torment's buddy. Attacks 1 enemy. It will ignore 50% of the target's defense. If the target is under a freeze debuff, will ignore 100% of the target's defense instead. If the target is killed while under a freeze debuff, also places a block revive debuff on them, damage based on HP. So this guy can also block revive, provided you get somebody under freeze. So let's take a look at the passive, and then I'll give my initial thoughts here. Counterattacks with the Rhyme Cleave skill whenever an enemy increases the cooldown of any of this champion's skills. Okay, cool. I guess that's decent because you can potentially kill somebody and reset his skills, but it's nothing incredible. It's not a great passive. Here's my initial thoughts as to maybe why this champion doesn't perform. I'm sure it's going to come down to being a damage thing, at least I would imagine. First and foremost, the only thing that gives him an initial or increased damage against freeze is this ability right here. Freeze reduces your overall damage. I think it's 20%, 25%, something like that, whenever you're hitting somebody under freeze. So I'm sure that plays a role maybe in him doing is not as much damage. Now, granted, he does get an extra hit if someone is under freeze or any of these other debuffs. My other guess is if they're not under this stuff and he only hits once, he probably does noodle damage. So overall, the kit isn't horrific. My guess is it's a problem of damage and a problem of, hey, can you get somebody's stone skin off through lightning cage, through whatever else, so that you can actually apply a freeze, and hey, can you make sure he doesn't become a sheep at the same time? So yeah, that's kind of like my initial thoughts. Again, it's not the worst kit I've ever read. So I am really curious to see why these reviews are this bad. And again, he is currently, at the time of this recording, the worst reviewed mythical in the game right now after the buffs to Gallius and a bunch of the other mythicals. So let's take a look at how I've built him. Let's talk about the best ways to do so. I think there's kind of a go-to way here, which is I'm lucky enough, first and foremost, to have him fully awakened. You can see I've got a wand on him. I think a wand is probably one of the better choices. Cat's Gaze doesn't make sense because you're not going to get the increased damage since he's an HP-based champion. Wand means you have less of a chance of getting polymorphed when you're replacing, you know, all these freeze debuffs, stuff like that. So I do think Wand makes the most sense. You could also go with Orb of, what is it, Transfixion, I think it's called. Yep, Orb of Transfixion could work to steal some buffs. You could also do something like a Rethi Cornet, since he's placing debuffs to increase his damage. But I do think for arena purposes, Wand is going to be your go-to out of like the more common, I don't want to say common, but the more, I guess, more common relics you're going to get. Like you could certainly put a bunch of different mythical things on him, like Death Dealer, or, you know, even not really Chrono Cube, but other stuff like that. But for my money, I think Wand makes the most sense. Mastery-wise, I've got him in offense and support because he does need accuracy in order to land those debuffs. I've also chosen to go lasting gifts so that if I want to keep him in that support form and use that A2 that gives the block debuffs and the speed, the increased speed, he has a chance of getting a longer duration of those buffs. Now over here, I mean, Opportunist, pretty much a requirement, I think, with this champion, since he's going to be attacking people under freeze. So get the increased 12% damage. This is old school, right? This is how it used to be back in the day before Stone Skin came into play and before Polymorph came into play. You saw this on basically every nuker build for the most part, all the time. You could go with Ruthless Ambush, but I didn't do it here because that AoE on his first form that places the freeze is an attack. It's an attack, which means those first hits, you know, you're not going to do a bunch of damage on it. So I'd rather go for something like Whirlwind of Death and potentially up his speed when he kills people, and then also Cycle of Violence to decrease his skill cooldowns. You could hypothetically, I guess, not take this if you want to. You could go with something like Bring It Down to get a little more damage against max HP. Depends on how much HP you get on him. This might not be the worst idea, frankly, just because, you know, it's tough to build these champions with tons of HP, super fast, lots of damage, etc. And accuracy. So this also could work. But for now, I've gone with Cycle of Violence. Helm Smasher down here, give us some more ignore defense. I've also gone with Methodical because he's going to counterattack in that second form with the A1. We want that A1 doing more damage. And then over here, I'm building him fast, so I want him with full HP when he's attacking, so let's give him some more damage here with Heart of Glory. And then just Cycle of Magic. I could have gone something like Lore Steel, but I wanted to get lasting gifts, and I wanted another additional chance of decreasing cooldowns of skills, and then again, over here to get more accuracy. You could also do something like Arcane Celerity, because he does put out decreased speed. You could also do something like Rapid Response, since he's putting out buffs. Really depends on how you want to use him, but for me, this is how I'm going to test him. We're going to see what he does. I think if you're building him for damage, which is what he looks like he's supposed to do, you're building him with Helm Smasher, you're building him Opportunist, no matter what, that is the way to go. Let's take a look now at the build. So first and foremost, I think realistically, the best way to build this guy is going to be some combo of Lethal or Savage and Pinpoint. My biggest fear with this champion is I just don't want him to become a sheep before he gets a chance to do damage. So you'll notice I have him in a Pinpoint set, and I have him in a Savage set here. I don't know if you could get away with doing him in a Stone Skin set and, you know, a Pinpoint set. Tough to say. Maybe if you're just using that A3 and placing freeze debuffs and you're just kind of going for the block revive. But I want to make sure these AoEs get some type of damage, so we're going Savage and we're going Pinpoint. Let's take a look at the gear. I had to cannibalize some of this off of some of my champions. So we've got Savage gear here, crit rate, speed, crit damage, HP with an HP ascension. We've got pinpoint with crit damage, crit rate, speed, accuracy, HP. So pretty damn good gear. I tried to put some of my better gear on him. Defense, let's see, not defense, that's a shield. HP percentage, accuracy, triple speed roll here. There's a lot of glyph potential here. And again, another HP ascension. Down here, we've got speed on the boots and a speed ascension. You could go HP percentage here, hypothetically, depending on how fast you can get them. I need the speed, so I've gone with this. These aren't super great boots, frankly, overall. They're kind of weak, actually. But whatever, they'll get the job done. Then, this is hilarious, an accuracy chest piece for part of my broken set with HP percentage, double speed, triple crit rate, little HP flat stat boost. Not bad. And then on the glove, we've got double HP, crit rate, crit damage, ascension, speed, and defense. Finally, over here on the pinpoint pieces, not a bad piece whatsoever. Triple speed roll, HP. I haven't had a chance to ascend all this stuff, frankly, because it's just asinine how difficult it is to ascend anything. As you can see, I've got 128,000 small oils, or whatever the hell this is, small chaos dust, lesser extract, excuse me, and a whopping total of 34 of the greater extract. Boy, wouldn't it be great if Plarium actually gave us that mixer that they talked about 6 months ago? I bet it would. Anyway, so that's part of the problem here. We have a tournament coming up tomorrow, so I'll just do, I'll run this tomorrow and get those points, but really frustrating that they still haven't fixed that. Would love to get an HP ascension here. Crit damage here again. Haven't had a chance to max this out because I'm waiting for that tournament. And then we got a pinpoint over here with HP and HP again. So we can get a little bit more stats-wise on him. But overall, what's it add up to? In his first form, we got 309 speed, 311% crit damage, but we don't really care about this form. We care about the second form, other than the accuracy here, 357. Second form, we're rocking 103k HP, 3900 defense, same speed, little bit more crit damage, and 337 accuracy. So he doesn't have a ton of accuracy in this build to land those freezes. As a mythical, of course, he gets that 20% ignore resistance. So I'm kind of counting on that working against champions. But I did want to build him fast so that I'd have a chance of making sure I land those debuffs, come into the second form, and pound people. So you could build him slower depending on what level of arena you're at. But the higher you get, the more you need these nukers to have 300 plus speed to be realistic to be used. I mean, really 330, 340, 350. Ideally, you'd be pushing something like that. I can't do that quite yet on this champion. Not without like having really, really much better gear luck. And as we all know, if you've seen any of my videos, my gear luck is terrible. So that's what we're rolling with. Let's take him in to Dragon and let's see what our Wolfie boy can do. Really curious to see just how bad this is. Because again, from a kit perspective, it doesn't read terribly the way that so many other kits do the second you get them. So, all right, Dwarf, get on over here, Dwarfy, and then we'll take our Lydia per usual, apply some debuffs, and we'll take, I guess it really doesn't matter. We'll just put a Shuzen in there for now. Yeah, where's Shuzen? I'm doing this the old school way. There you go. Okay, cool. Gives increased crit damage. There you go. So he gets a little bit more, of a buff. All right. Dragon 23, per usual. Ah, crap. He's actually slower. He's actually faster than my Lydia. That's okay, though. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll pop this A3 here in the first form. This shouldn't do much damage at all. And sure enough, it does basically nothing. 3% resist right there. So we do have the frozen debuffs out. We can try to A1 here. I think can just get like the freeze here. Should be a freeze. He repeats the attack. What? How the hell did that not, after that whole spiel I had about this being close to 100%, how in the world did I not land that? Did I read that kit wrong? We'll find out in a second. We'll go back to it. I'm genuinely shocked right now. Hold on. I need to read this again. Attacks one enemy. Each hit is a 50% chance of placing a freeze debuff for one turn. If the target is not under a freeze debuff, we'll repeat the attack once. I literally had 4 attacks with 50% chance of placing a freeze each time and somehow did not land a single freeze. Whew, Jesus Christ. The RNG, quite impressive. Okay, that's all right. So we don't have freeze up here. We do have freeze down here. That'll be good to give us an idea, actually, of what damage does. Let's go ahead and switch him into his second form. So let's start. We're going to do the AoE first. So we get an extra hit for everybody that's under a freeze debuff, right? Extra hit under a freeze debuff, and we decrease turn meter. I would imagine with a double hitter on a freeze and decreased defense, this should, with a good champion, especially with the stats, obliterate everybody here. So let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, Christ. Was that 200? 300? So not the best. Hold on. Let's go again. Let's try again. Tough to tell. All right, freeze everybody again. This time we got everyone. This time we'll just put up the buff so we don't do any extra damage. Throw out the decreased defense and the weaken. He's getting the bonus crit damage. Let's switch the forms. Slow down again. Let's do the A2 again. 192, 180, 160, 320. Yeah, so it's definitely not a super hard hitting ability for sure. Definitely not a super hard hitting ability. Let's just see what this does. Well, let's go again. Let's go again. We're burning energy here, but you know what? The consistency is important. Let's go ahead. Do this. Drop that out there. We froze everybody. God, we're getting lots of 3% here, huh? All right, more buffs. Oh, I forgot to talk about his blessing. I'll go back and do that in a second. Let's go ahead, shift him in here. Let's take a look at the A3. Now we're getting 100% ignore defense here because they're under freeze and a block revive. This should do massive damage. Oh my Lord, that is terrible. Jesus Christ, that is bad. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's really bad. Oh, God. Okay, I think I'm seeing part of the problem here. That is shockingly bad. That has to have been... That can't be like that bad, right? Oh, my God. If you don't get the second hit, basically, okay, so we're seeing part of the problem here. If they're not in a freeze and you don't get that second hit, this is a super weak AoE on that second form. 200k in today's arena with these kind of stats, that is really bad, especially with decreased defense and weaken. So right away, we know there's a major damage problem with this champion. That A3 was shockingly bad for a single target hit in today's game. Like that is one of the worst I have seen in some time. That is absolutely, I'm kind of blown away. It's that bad. Good God, that was bad. All right, everybody's frozen again. All right, we're gonna buff up. I mean, again, we've got weaken on there. We've got increased crit damage here. We've got all sorts of stuff. He also, his blessing is actually Nature's Wrath. So he's getting an increase of what, 5, 10, tons of damage increases here because of the freeze and the decreased speed he puts out. That was, God, that was bad. All right, again, under freeze buff, ignoring 100% of the target's defense instead, under freeze. That's still really bad for a single target ability, block revive or not. There are champions that can single hit for 700 plus K, a million, whatever, that aren't mythicals. Obviously, there are champions that are mythicals. Now, granted, he's putting a block revive, but even champions like Onryo Yasu, who I've been using recently in Arena and who I need to do an update video on, because God, was I sleeping on that champion. I knew he was good. I didn't know he was that good. That's just frankly bad, right? Like, we got the Helm Smasher proc that time. We definitely, or I guess it doesn't matter if we got the Helm Smasher proc because we're ignoring 100% of defense. But keep in mind, we have weaken out here in order to boost damage. We've landed all of these debuffs, and because he's in Nature's Wrath, he's getting a massive amount of increase of damage there. You know, basically, you got to hope you're landing that in Arena. If you're not, you're probably doing no damage at all. That was pretty bad, guys. I'm not going to lie. That 200k hit, I can't believe that he did that little damage. Like, that's honestly, maybe I missed something. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'll have to take another look, or you guys will let me know in the comments. But that was really rough. Let's take him into Arena. We're in Platinum Arena. It's what is it, Monday? So we're not against the top defenses. So we should get a pretty good idea of what he can do when not against some of the big boys that are out there. Let's go. I need to strip my Empress. I took something off of, so he's not going to be faster anymore, right? You know what? Let's actually build him quickly, just so I can get him to go first to make sure that Stone Skin is off. Where is Empress? Here he is. What's the speed right now? He's at 296. Just going to put something on him with maximum speed. Doesn't even matter. I just, whatever I've got. Here you go. Attack percentage, triple speed. That's fine. And that gets him up to 322. And I think he has, yes, he does. So he'd be faster now. Okay. Let's go, oh, not live arena. Let's go back into classic and we'll start. Here you go. Good affinity. This should be interesting, right? Should be good here. Let's get Empress in there so we can make sure any kind of stone skin goes away. Let's get Fjorad in there. And then, you know, honestly, just for like a common kind of thing, we'll throw Warlord back in there since lockout most of the time is what we're doing. We'll try them without it too. Have the moth bugs flown around me, by the way? I haven't detected them, so that's nice. All right. Okay. Make sure all that comes off. Now, we did a ton of damage with Empress, so this is going to be a very bad test. The amount of damage we did is kind of nuts. I mean, we should obliterate everybody here, like one would imagine, right? You know what I mean? Double hit. Yeah, double hit. Okay, we got it done. Empress kind of cooked up for us there. We need a team with more stone skin. Here we go. This should have more stone skin. That wasn't a good test because Empress did basically all the damage. That was also a super, super weak team overall. Just absolutely folded like a house of cards. Let's try here. See if there's more stone skin here. Indeed, there is a lot more stone skin. Love to see that. And do I need to speed up? I kind of think I do. I mean, it's going to get me burned, but I don't really care about winning. I just care about getting a chance to see what he can do damage-wise. So let's take the stone skin off. All right, we got it off of most people. Good God, did I not land the freeze? What the hell just happened there? I really didn't land the freeze? There's that much resistance here? Oh, this gives us a good time to get a test. So let's see what he does versus Volcanos with no freeze and everybody else. Also no freeze in the Duchess. Holy shit, what? Why was that so bad? Oh my God. Wait, what? All right, I don't want to go against Volcanos because it's a pain in the ass to deal with this crap. Let's just choose somebody who doesn't have a Volcanos so I don't have to worry about, you know, speed issues here. We can try this. 1.07, there's definitely going to be a ton of resistance there. This is going to have all of the fun new stuff. All right, hold on, this is fresh. We got the same guys. Here we go. We can work with this. What's the strength here? Not super strong, but we can work with this. Hopefully they'll have some stone skin. Do they? Maybe not. Okay, we do have some stone skin. I mean, Ember's still doing a ton of damage here. Brother, how the hell? How am I? I mean, am I just getting wand? I guess I got wanded here. How am I getting this unlucky? Holy shit. This is really funny. Okay, let's try the AoE again. Again, we're only getting single hits on everybody else. Jesus, even here, the damage isn't anything crazy. God, the damn. I mean, that had to have been a weak hit, but hold on. Let's try this 50% ignore defense. Weak hit, so couldn't really get an idea there of what happens. Maybe I take the Embers out. This goes to illustrate a point though, right? Like a champion like Empress or a champion like Marius, which are some of the best champions in the game, frankly, right now for Arena. They can do it themselves, right? They can hypothetically take the stone skin off. Marius specifically takes the stone skin off, does tons of damage. So it makes it tricky when you got champions like that are just in a different class, right? Just a different class than what we're dealing with here. I might end up regretting this depending on the amount of buffs I'm throwing out, but let's just try. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, was I slower? Somehow I decreased his turn meter. What did I do to decrease his turn meter? I don't even know. What could I possibly have done? I genuinely don't know. Okay, well, now we're going to be in a problem because... Wait, what the hell's going on? Now he didn't proc? Could somebody make sense of what's happening here? I mean, I just screwed myself with whatchamacallit, but that's okay. Good Lord. I mean, we couldn't even get him to go here. This is really turning out to be a great showcase, by the way. Okay. Let's try this versus Arima, yeah? How about that? I would like to just have a team that doesn't counter speed so I can show this off easily. But unfortunately, I am getting multiple, and of course we got Enfeeble. It doesn't matter too much, though, because he's going to switch forms anyway. All right. Dude, how is he taking this much damage? Good Lord. Does everybody have a fucking god tier Marius? Can I please freeze everybody? Oh, that's right. I forgot. I had Enfeeble up. This was pointless. Just kill him. Just kill everybody. Good Lord. The Marius builds right now are absolutely nuts. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. This is IPR, of course. Can I just find one team that I can test this against? I could switch to Arbaeus, frankly, and give him a boost in accuracy as well, which maybe I will. Maybe I'll switch to Arbaeus over here. But okay, let's try it this time. He's got this. So we don't have to worry about the Tormund. But just in case, we'll buff up again. All right, cool. Good times. Okay, freeze him up, buddy. Bro, how am I not getting the freeze? What is going on here? How am I not landing freezes? How am I not landing this freeze consistently? Am I really getting wanded that often? Someone's going to have to tell me in the comments. He's got enough accuracy with the resistance. Like, these guys have 500, 600 resistance? I don't even know. I don't even know. Extra hit enemies under freeze. I mean, should I just try to go for the block revive? Why not? 100% ignore defense on the Marichka. All right, hey, we got the block revive. He did it, guys. He did it. Best champion in the game. he did it. Oh my God, bro. This is the craziest. I think this is probably the most difficulty I've had testing a champion of any video I've ever done in the entirety of me doing Raid Shadow Legends. Why am I even in here? This doesn't matter. We're going to fall to platinum at this point. Okay. I need to see what's going on. This is where I need to see the log because I am just frankly shocked that we're like not landing these freeze debuffs. You know, 350 something accuracy plus 20% ignore is like 420, 450 resist, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think, you know what? I'll do the math quickly. We're at 357 or so accuracy, right? What does that end up if we take 25% off of that? Yeah, I mean, like, we're good up to like 450, right around 450, and we're just not landing anything. And I really seriously doubt that all of these nukers, especially, I mean, which one did I attack? I guess I refreshed. Okay. I mean, none of these accounts are strong. And yet this is still a struggle. Maybe that tells me something. Marius is a problem. Let's try to avoid Marius. We could go Galathir here. Probably going to get screwed. It's tough, though, right? It's tough because I can't build this guy. I can already tell his damage is not good, right? And I can't build him in Stone Skin and in Pinpoint the way that I can somebody else. You know what I mean? Like other nukers, like potentially a Gizmak, who do enough damage, or even a Gurgo, where you don't have to have Savage on these guys or stuff like that. But I'm really surprised. All right, let's just slowly do this. Okay, we have 1 week affinity here. Okay, it's a miracle. We actually got everybody. Finally. Holy shit. I mean, the RNG tonight really cooking me. Okay, double hit. There is a Harima. So we're losing a lot of defense, a lot of ignore defense. But let's just see here. Double hit. Yeah, I mean, it's not good. It's not good. There should be no surprise there, of course. But it's definitely not good. That's not super strong either, for sure. That's not super strong either. I mean, Empress isn't even in like his main build, and let's just see what he does. More damage. Well, not more damage necessarily. I mean, so far not looking too good. I'd like to land freeze on everybody, frankly. But that hasn't happened yet. Let's see if we can get that to happen. That would be really nice. All right, nobody's got Stone Skin here, so I'm just gonna A1. Let's A1 Empress. Or, well, I forgot that was an AoE. All right, that's fine. All right. Jesus Christ, I really am getting resisted this often. I'm honestly shocked. I really did not think I needed to build more accuracy in this champion in order to land this stuff. Kind of stunned, frankly. Yeah, if you don't get that second hit, you're definitely not doing much damage at all, to say the least. Man, if you have to build more resist, you have to compromise so much on damage. So much compromising on damage. He doesn't even have, or I should say, build more accuracy. This is what 91. Hold on, what else we got here? Commonus, Marius, Empress, bad affinities here. You can see the affinity problem as well. Huge affinity problem. And again, Marius, let's try taking out Shizen and let's go in with our Baeus. And then just hope we don't get outsped and or I don't want to get enfeebled. I think I can go, hopefully. Okay, I can. We'll put a True Fear debuff up. And again, all right, we got the strip. Okay. Can we please land freeze on more than just like one person? Holy hell, we did it, guys. Now it triggered a polymorph there, which ate up his pinpoint, but we actually did it. We landed freeze on everybody. I'm shocked. I didn't think it was possible, but it is. Apparently it is. It's incredibly possible. Now, A1 or A3, we got the block revive. Ember's doing damage. I'm going to take Embers out as well, actually. I feel like he's doing too much of a good thing here with the bonus damage. You know what I mean? But hey, it worked. We did it. We cleared a team. We cleared a team with the primary damage being from Fjorad. Yes, the team was only 14 million player power, but we did it, boys. Good Lord. All right, here's another beast team with a Harima. Let's get the Embers out. Let's put in our Marius. I don't care if Marius dies. The goal here is just to get rid of the Stone Skin, hopefully not do a ton of damage, and hopefully land some freezes. It looks like they probably have decent resistance, though, based off the team power. So this could be futile as well, but let's try. And how fast their Sifi is. All right. Nice. Enfeeble. Love it. All right, I'm not even going to boost. I probably should, but I don't want to do too much damage. Actually, you know what? No, I don't need it. I already got the accuracy. All right, we got the Stone Skin off. Awesome. Good work. Okay. Please. Please work. Yes. He is frozen 3 out of 4. Not all 4, but that's okay. And he got frozen because of a wand. Why is this so freaking difficult? God almighty. I don't want to show off Marius, but I got to get the Stone Skin off. If I don't get the Stone Skin off, this champion can't do anything. Oh my God. It's too funny, man. It's too freaking funny. Now he's petrified. That's not going to help us with doing more damage. Why did I switch forms? I don't know. I just felt like it. Here, kill some people. All right, Harima's dead. Okay, the freezes are gone, but that's all right. Let's just see what he does damage-wise without freeze. Again, we're facing Taurus, Marichka, barely any health left in this Sifi. Any good champion with a one-hitter AoE should be able to kill the Sifi, one would imagine, even without all the other fun stuff. Taurus not going to die under petrification, taking less damage. Marichka would be a little bit tougher, but good damage dealers would definitely be able to kill the Sifi. I would imagine he can kill the Sifi. Yes, thank God. He does kill the Sifi. Almost kills the Taurus. Actually, kind of impressive. Not bad. Not bad, and does enough damage against Marichka to be respectable, at least. Still, this champion is very difficult to use. I can't get max value out of him the way I can other champions, at least not as easily. All right, block revive. We're going to ignore 50% of defense minus the 50 from Harima. So this probably does basically no damage at all. Oh, it still actually did not bad. Okay, we'll take that. That was actually better than I thought, given there's a Harima. Okay. Okay. You know, okay. Yeah. Okay. This is definitely one of my finer showcase videos, by the way. But to be fair to me, I mean, he is, in my opinion, a little difficult to use. You know, again, without, like, if I can't get him in Stone Skin to avoid getting enfeebled by Marius or stuff like that, it becomes a lot harder to deal with. And he doesn't have anything in his kit that makes him super special as a nuker. What else here? Let's try. We're going to get absolutely just cooked by this Nell. Crazy how much of a difference that one relic has made, right? Can I do this and not get... Let's try. I don't think I'm going to be faster, but do they have temporal chains? No, they don't. Okay. I would like to do that, but I can't. I could maybe try him with Necrit. I don't even, you know what? I don't even really need to do anything. Gonna do this. Well, now we're definitely in trouble. Everything's up. We're kind of cooked here. The buffs are up. Game over. He switches forms. All right, here's single hit. Hey, we killed the Armans. Let's go. God, he's getting pieced up. He's getting pieced up by Marius, who's just a straight up better champion. Okay, let's try him with Necrit. See if we can keep him alive, maybe. And we'll just try to ignore this. We'll let someone go first and ignore the Stone Skin issue. Yeah, let's try that. Maybe that works a little better. Here we go. We got some good affinities here. Not a super strong team. Let's try that. Let's switch it up. No more Marius. We'll throw a Necrit in there, kind of old school, how you used to do it back in the day. And let's see what our boy Wolfheart can do. And we're just going to let them do what they do. And if they have Stone Skin, we'll just wait it out. They don't. They only have one piece of Stone Skin here, so that's not bad. So we could actually... Yes, we can. We can get some of these freezes up. We got 3. Very nice. You love to see it. Okay, finally a decent test. Now, again, Harima, but let's see what we do. I mean, not good. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie to you. Like, Harima definitely makes it worse, I'm sure. I also forget that Necrit is not going to protect him because he's got more HP than everybody else, so it makes it a lot harder to do this. Basically, we're just taking fat L's right now, boys. We're taking L's left and right. All right. I get 100% resist, 100% block, or ignore defense. Can I kill this Harima even though she's reducing that by 50%? Yes, I can. It was not a hard hit, but we still got the job done. It is a miracle. All right, there's the A1. Nothing incredible. This team also is extremely weak. So this is very, you know, something to keep in mind. This is not a strong team that we're facing here, and we are not doing incredible damage against a team that is not strong, at least versus an account like mine, to be fair. All right, double hit. Get the kill there. It wasn't double hit, just a single. I mean, champion definitely doesn't do good damage. Like, that is for sure. Let's try. Here we go. 48 million player power. That's much more to my liking. Now, Nell's probably going to cut in here and we might get cooked. We don't have Stone Skin on him. I can't really use Arbeus. I need to get rid of her for someone like Shuzen. Just try that, maybe. Just instant turn into a Warlord. Or I can honestly even try Crixia, if not for the nice. Let's try the Warlord first. We got Stone Skin on our buddy Warlord, so it should be okay. We're not going to be able to lock out Galathyr with this Warlord build, though. It's not. Okay, we lived that, though. We lived that. Unfortunately, the Galathyr was just too quick. Hey, 4 hits, baby. 4 hits. Now, if we do this, we're going to get poisons on here. Probably not worth the heal for the poisons. Oh, it's switching forms. Interesting. Okay. Oh, we're all switching forms here. All right. We can actually land some of these. We landed none. I should have known the Galathyr would have too much resistance, and this was just bad affinity. Hey, we did kill the Arbeus, though. We did kill the Arbeus, boys. Let's go. All right. I'm going to try A1ing here, and I'm going to try it on the Galathyr in the second form without the freeze. Hey, we actually got the kill. Let's go. We didn't get the block revive because the freeze wasn't up, but we did get the kill. And we can boost now because she's in her second form. So that's good at least. He's dead now. Oh, why am I even trying? This champion sucks. I think I'm trying so hard to make this work different ways, and this champion is garbage. Hold on. Let's try this again. Let's try this with Crixia. Let's full lock out with Crixia. Where is Crixia? I'm blind. She's not in Stone Skin, though. This one's not. You know what? I have the other Crixia. Hold on. Where's the other Crixia? Where's my backup Stone Skin Crixia? There she is. She's slow as hell, but you know what? She'll do. That'll do, pig. That'll do. All right. I mean, I could go Marichka here and just block poisons. Let's try that. I'm trying to make this work, boys. All right. Lock out. Do I have a lot of resistance on her? Okay, clearly I do. I locked everything out. Good. Good for me. Oh, he's switching forms, though. Well, it was good for me. Oh, I'm okay. And hey, we froze him. He put a debuff on us and he froze him. Look out. The passive coming to bear. I'm going to do this now since we have... Oh, she's sheeped. It's all coming up. It's all happening now. Hold on. Hold on, boys. All right, land the freeze. Come on. All right, we didn't land the freeze, of course, because we got wanded. Yep. God. Why is this so difficult? Oh, my Lord, dude. Cleanse it up. Cleanse it up. Jesus. All right, they lived. Fantastic. Okay, again, land the freeze, big dog. They didn't land it. We weak hit over here. Well, we did get on the other ones. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We can make that work. All right, double hit. Double hit. Come on, big boy. Let's go. Huge damage. Incredible damage. Oh, man. Now, can we, this only hits once, right? Oh, Also bad affinity. Let's just try to kill her. I would like to actually switch him. I kind of want to switch him to his first form. I can't do it yet. I have to do it. Oh no. It's only a single hit. But we are decreasing his max HP barely. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah. Yeah. Damn, dude. This is cursed. This is straight up cursed, yo. All right, we got the block active skills. Hold on. Metamorph. Hold on. And he got wanted again. I think it's my favorite test I've ever done. This is the most scuffed test I have ever done, bar none. And he's dead. To anyone that says Nice has counters, this is a great example of how difficult it is to deal with this champion when they have a wand on them. I've seen occasional comments in some of my videos. Now, I will just be honest. The vast majority of people understand that Nice is still an extremely broken champion and really difficult to deal with if built correctly. That's the big thing, if built correctly. Lots of people at the lower levels build him incorrectly because they don't know what they're doing. If he's built correctly, and if you have a wand, and guess what everybody does now, he is so damn difficult to deal with. Now, granted, this is a bad affinity matchup, which also plays into this, but I've been wanded multiple times now trying to control him, do other stuff, etc., and he still does so much damage. So it's a great Nice showcase right now. Not so great of a Fjorad showcase. This champion sucks ass, man. He's just not good. I don't know why I'm trying to prove that maybe he's better than I thought. He's not. Good God, man. Like, he's just bad. He's bad affinity for what's in the arena currently. He's bad in terms of you have to have all these other champions to set him up. It's really clear from his damage test that you cannot build him in his current form in Stone's Gate, or at least I really don't think you can, to get value out of anything other than that A3 in the second form, which has the potential to ignore 100% of defense, and just having one ability that works. You know what I mean? That's not a good champion. Like, that's a bad champion, especially for a champion that is a mythical. This is a dog shit champion. This is a champion that needs a buff. Kudos to Plarium, at least. They've been trying to buff some of these really bad mythicals, and frankly, they should. Not every mythical can be Galathir or Lazarius or Siegfried or even Nice, but good God, man, this champion is terrible. The fact that it's so tough too when you have a champion, like you have champions like Gizmak that will completely not require any type of accuracy on them in order to land debuffs. And then you have champions like Fjorad that require accuracy, which reduces overall damage because you can't get any value out of this. And oh yeah, his kit doesn't let you get damage from accuracy like somebody like a Carnage would, who again is a free champion you can get just by completing, Cursed City. This champion is bad. Like, there's really no other way to put it. I forgot the blessing. I put a Nature's Wrath on him to increase the damage, you know what I mean? Every time he lands one of those debuffs, potentially up to 30% damage increase. So keep that in mind. When we were doing those dragon tests, we were getting a 30% buff. We landed what? Decreased speed, and we landed freeze on 5 different champions, right? That's 10. Yeah, we got a 30% debuff, or increased damage buff, and he still did basically bad damage. He just is not good. He's just not good. He's not a good champion. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. The reviews are accurate. The champion needs serious help. The kit isn't the worst. His damage is bad. I think if I were going to fix him, if I were going to make him good, not even incredible, but good, you know what I mean? First and foremost, either require him to have no accuracy at all. You don't have to make it so it goes through block debuffs or stuff like that, like things like Nell or whatever, but either change something here where he doesn't require accuracy to land this stuff, or give him some ability to decrease buffs a la Marius or whatever else, right? Like, give him the ability to be self-sufficient and not require another champion to take those buffs off for him. That's one of the first things that I would probably do here. Beyond that, I think the the big thing is he just needs more damage. He just needs more damage. Double hits, like cool when someone's frozen, that's great. You know, make this like one of those abilities similar to Gallius, who also doesn't do incredible damage now, but in his second form, he's got will ignore 20% of each target's defense if they have no buffs, right? Ignores block damage. Damage increases for buffs. Like, this is just a better overall skill, and it's a better affinity. You'd much rather have the cock than this champion in his current form. This champion is garbage. These reviews are accurate. I mean, look, I'm looking at this from an endgame lens, and I'm looking at this from someone who's used basically every mythical now, with the exception of Theodosia and Nice, but has faced every mythical many times in Arena. So keep that in mind. You know, if you're a low level, free to play, very low spender, of course this champion is going to be useful for you versus other ones. But if you're somebody who just pulled a mythical and you are somebody who's spent on the game and this is what pops out, yeah, you're definitely going to be disappointed because it's just not good. It's not good. And he's not usable, I don't think, in Hydra or other stuff because the damage is so low, right? Like, you can't put him in PvE things because he's not going to land the freeze, which means none of this matters in terms of doing damage, which means this first form, which gives you things like block debuffs and increased speed, as well as potentially decreased speed. You know, cool. I guess that he could be like your buff dude in Hydra, but there are better options out there by far, and way better mythical options by far too. So I don't know, man. I am extremely disappointed by this champion. I do think he is shit. God, I can't believe I pulled this instead of a Nice, man. Talk about two differences in the spectrum. You pull this is what you get. You pull a Nice, you get to dominate, especially when you throw a wand on them. So just they need to do a better job with these mythical champions. And you could really argue for all the champions, of course, but they need to do a better job of actually putting out reasonably balanced champions. If one champion is insanely broken, you know what I mean? I don't want every champion to be insanely broken. I'd rather have that champion come down a little bit and other champions come up. This is a champion that needs a massive come up. What else can you say, guys? He's not good. He's not good. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did this surprise you? It certainly surprised me. I really thought he wouldn't be quite this bad. He is quite this bad. Oh, also the other thing too is that, like, you can't get the stone skin on him, which means champions like Marius just enfeeble the living crap out of you, especially since he's HP based. So trying to get block debuffs on him is you know, tough. Tough thing to do, unless I guess, you know, I guess you could run a couple different champions and throw it out there, but that screws up your entire build thing. So I don't know. He's not a good champion. Not a good champion. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, which was easily one of my most ridiculous champion tests that I've ever done, please let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. As always, I appreciate your support. I'll end with this. We did hit Twitch partner last week, which was incredible. We're gonna do a big Twitch partner party this coming Friday. I probably should have led with this, but I didn't. So I'll make sure on my next video to lead with this, so that way you guys know about it. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the support. And God, I really hope they buff this champion soon. And if they don't, I really hope you don't pull this champion because he's not fun to use. Have a good night. Catch you later, or good day. It's night when I'm recording this, whatever. Big Papa Drock out.